Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Rough night in the NBA on Friday. Lost a couple units, so we're still up a little bit more than 7 on the season. Negative regression was inbound for sure. Had 3 plays on the hook there. One play where Davion Mitchell had the amount of assists he needed, and then they took one away from him. So it did not all come to fruition for us this night, but we move forwards. Like I said, still looking really good on the young season. I've got best bets and projections from a couple games here on Saturday, as we don't have all the lines up that we need, but I'm going to get right into it now. So if that sounds good, go ahead and give that video a like. Let's jump right into it. Kicking things off with Andrew Wiggins. I'm taking him for the full kit and caboodle here. Points, rebounds, and assists combined for him. Right now, we're talking about a situation where I see 3 guys playing 30 minutes for this Warriors team on Saturday. Wiggins, Pods, Draymond. Those are the guys you're going to see playing 30-plus minutes against Houston. And everybody else is looking at 20 to 25 minutes max. Maybe Kuminga gets a little bit more than 25, but really they're playing a 10-man rotation right now. So minutes are only going to come for those. The extra minutes are only going to come for those guys who are playmakers and can break guys down off the dribble and can control the offense. And Pods has shown he's a good point guard. He just played 2 games without Wiggins. We know Steph is out, by the way, again in this one. If you didn't, now you do. He's still going to be out for a little bit with that ankle injury. So Wiggins, Pods, Draymond, those are the dudes with the ball in their hand running the offense. Wiggins, more than people realize. I also like him for the 1.5 assists. It's juiced really far down, but I easily expect him to get 2 dimes with the amount of time that he's going to have facilitating the offense alongside the other 2 guys. In the 3 games he's played before sitting twice with injury, he had 28.7 points and rebounds and assists combined per game in just 25 minutes per game. He was getting a few more minutes than most guys, but he was still on that second tier, but below Steph and Draymond playing 30-plus minutes as the only guys. He played 30 minutes in one game, but like I said, 23 minutes in the other 2, only averaging 25. In this one, you've got to get him at about 30-plus minutes, maybe 32 to 35, to be honest. He's too important to the offense, especially when Steph is out. That's really what it comes down to, is you can kind of utilize Andrew Wiggins how you feel and how he might suit best for each game when Steph's not in. But when Steph's not in, he immediately vaults up to way more important and a guy that's going to be playing a good amount. And if you look at his matchup here with Houston, what Houston does, and we'll talk about this with Podziemski in a second, they just pressure the crap out of the ball, right? And that's going to be either Podziemski or Wiggins, but it's good for points because they don't allow assists. They don't double team. They don't really collapse on the ball. They just play really high ball pressure with pretty good one-on-one defenders, Dylan Brooks being one of those guys, and a few other athletes as well, including like Jabari Smith, for instance. So with that in mind, Wiggins is going to have the opportunity to take guys off the dribble. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to score because that's going to be his prerogative. So look at about 15, 16 shots. I think he's good for maybe 20 points. So at about 23, 24 and a half points, rebounds, and assists combined, this is a great bet for Saturday. As I jump into Pods, quick reminder that we've got the WAP.com link in the description of the video so you don't miss a bet of mine if you're interested in following along all season. Got the VIP Discord through there so you can get all the plays and the write-ups that we're making here. Like I said, still up more than 7 units. It's a long season. I've got a goal to hit more than 60 this year, so we'll keep it going. Got the season pass, too, for the NBA, 40% off if you do want to check that out now for a limited time. But looking at Podziemski, I would heed a little bit of caution here. This is not a good matchup for him against Houston, specifically for the assists and the rebounds as well. The assists are only at about 5.5, and they're juiced way down to the under, meaning that they don't really think he's going to get 6 assists, the books right now, especially those sharper books that have some lines up for him. So with that in mind, I do like a fade of the rebounds and the assists, but I can't comfortably fade the points. This is a Houston team that, while they allow the fewest assists and 3-pointers allowed, they allow the 4th most points per game to point guards. So overall, good defense. But to point guards, because Dylan Brooks fouls so much and because they pressure the ball so much and that point guard can eventually get one-on-one matchups that suit them, they give up a lot of points to that position. So I left it out. It's only 12.5 points for Pods on the points if you want to add it. So I didn't really want to. It wasn't enough for me to feel comfortable that he's going to go under that number. But I do like him to have fewer touches and fewer opportunities to facilitate and get assists when you've got Andrew Wiggins back in there. I do think that's going to equal fewer touches for Pods in this one. The Rocket that I'm looking at here is Alperen Sengun and his boards. And he's had a slow start to the season overall, for sure. He's had a couple games where he got pulled and didn't even play more than like 22, 23 minutes. Still, you look at his rebounds, he's the best rebounder on this team by far, and the dude that's really going up for all the chances here. Jabari Smith doing okay, but other than that, really it's Alpi Sengun with 25 rebound chances per game, right in the top 3 in the league right now. And Golden State's been a pretty good rebounding for the lack of size that they have, 17th in opponent rebounds allowed, but they have allowed the 6th most rebounds to the center position because their only true center, if you want to call him that, is Trace Jackson Davis. Maybe we see a little bit more Kevon Looney to try to deal with Sengun in this one, but I still like Sengun to be able to pull down about 11 boards in this one or so. I would play this up to 10.5 if you find that. You look at him against Golden State last year, he averaged 9 rebounds on 16 rebound chances. One game still had about 15 rebound chances and didn't get over in that one, but the other one went comfortably over. So I think this is a situation, once again, where you're going to start taking centers rebounds against Golden State. We don't have that much data to feel that comfortable with it after just 4 or 5 games that, yes, they've allowed the 6th most rebounds to centers. Doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the case all season, but I think that is a solid projection that it will be because they don't actually have a true center. Wizards are taking on Miami on Saturday, and talk about a game that is like kind of scary and terrifying. I hate betting on Miami anyway, to be honest. You add the Wizards in there. We kind of know a little bit more about them, to be honest, than we do with the Heat. We know that Jordan Poole is going to have the ball in his hands a ton because Kyle Kuzma is out. We know Bilal Coulibaly is going to play a lot of minutes because they're very interested in prioritizing his minutes and seeing his growth from year 1 into year 2 here, right? That said, Jordan Poole's points are not a good look. I do like a fade at about 23.5 points for those. He went under that number in all 4 versus Miami last year. One of those had Kuz out, and he still went under. 3 of those had Kuz in there, but he was still taking a lot of shots, even with Kuz in there. He had a couple games with 15 or more shots, and then one game where he only played like 21 minutes. He was clearly in the doghouse with the coach last season and came out in that one. He's been playing a lot more this year, and he does seem to be in favor with the coaching staff a lot more than he was last year. And if you look at what he did against Miami last year, though, 16 points per game, 39% from the field, 31 from deep. Miami's defense was better last year, though. So that's the scary part about taking it under with Poole right now is Miami is not the same Miami that they were last year. And we'll talk about that a little bit more with the next bet for a Wizard player as well. But I do think for Poole, while he averages 3 more points per game without Kuzma than he does with him, he's still only looking at about 20 to 21 points per game without Kuzma since he's gotten to the Wizards. So it's not like there's a lot of precedence for him getting 24 points that often against what's supposed to be a good defense like Miami. So I haven't put anything yet on to Jordan Poole's points as an under yet, but that's definitely a strong lean that I might end up putting in that VIP Discord tomorrow. Other guy from this game that I'm looking at right now is we have a limited amount of props is Bilal, and I'm looking at his rebounds. Now, the points are really high, but he's pretty involved in the offense when Kuzma's not there. He took a lot of shots against a bad Hawks defense, so do that with that what you will. That's when he had his explosion game there for over 20. But coming in here, I'm looking at the rebounds because I think the rebound chances are not that high compared to the amount of rebounds that he's pulling down. Like, it's too high of a percentage of his rebound chances that he's the actual rebounder on them. So it seems like there's some negative regression coming for him in this particular category. 8.8 rebounds per game, chances per game in 34 minutes, but that's only led to 6 rebounds, I should say. Not only, that's led to 6 rebounds per game, and that's not a number that I think he can hit on 8.8 chances very often. Now, Miami should be a really good rebounding team, but they're not. They are 30th in rebound percentage, and they have the 14th defensive rating. So not as good as it should be for what you expect from Miami to always be in the top 10 with Spo, but still good enough that it's not that embarrassing. They are 29th in pace, though, so I don't think there's going to be quite as many opportunities for rebounds for anybody because there's going to be fewer possessions per game. Miami's going to run that shot clock down. And this is the same thing that happened last year. Washington, one of the top pace teams in the league. Right now, they're 2nd in the league. Miami, 29th in the league. Only slower team is the Knicks. So what happens when these two teams meet up? Well, Miami has won out that battle in terms of keeping the pace at what they want it to be and keeping the total of these games at about 222, whereas the Wizards want it to be above 235 as often as possible because they just get out and go as often as they can with really not that great of a half-court offense. So they still have the coaching staff in-house that's still preaching the same things. So you got to assume that they're going to turn it around at some point. I'm not ready to get ahead of that and call that Miami's going to all of a sudden be really good at defense, but I still would be leaning to the under for Bilal in his rebounds in this one. One more reminder, outlier.bet, the best tool that I have available to me that I'm using right now to find everything I need to get the best value in all these bets. You can get the free trial for 7 days by using the link that's in the description of the video. If interested, try it out, see if you like it, and then get into it. But I'm going to be back here with stuff for Sunday. I got anytime touchdowns and player props ready for you guys. 6 of each of them coming out on Saturday. So make sure you do check those out. Be live with Modai on Sunday as well on his YouTube channel, talking everything football before we get kicked off with these games. So until I see you next, happy betting.